morning, everyone. I cannot hear any one of you. Good morning, everyone. Great. My name is Swapnali, and on behalf of UBS Forums, along with our partners, Safe Security, Manage Engine, LastPass, Efficient IB, CyberNext, Cyrax, Seclor, Rubrics, 𝗙𝗵𝗶𝗁, Endpoint Protector, 𝗕𝗲𝗏, I welcome you all to this exclusive conference on 5th edition of CISO Conclave and Awards 2022. First of all, thank you so much all of you for sparing your time today and joining us for this event. Giving a brief background, the rapid rise of revolutionary technology and online services is unleashing new security and cyber threats, putting many businesses, critical infrastructure and data at risk as businesses are going digital. These increasing disruptions and hybrid working models are creating gaps that allow security threats to be missed. And it's not only security and privacy that will continue to swell in priority, but also the way in which real-time data is consumed will become a priority. And today, at this event, you will learn how to streamline your data security strategy, work from home models, and optimize cost with innovation to gain agility, scalability, and build resilience. And with this, to set the tone for the day, I would like to invite our keynote speaker, that is Mr. Sudheesh Babu, who is the Global Head GRC, IT Risk Management, Cyber Risk Governance, and Regional CISO at Wipro. Giving a brief introduction, he carries over more than 2 decades of experience in enterprise GRC, IT risk management, cyber risk governance, and cyber resilience. He is currently heading the cyber risk governance function for Wipro globally and also the regional CISO for APMEA. Sudheesh has worked across geographies, including North America, Europe, and APMEA. Prior to joining Wipro, Sudheesh worked with Deloitte, PwC in the risk management and audit management domains. With this, please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to see a lot of known faces. Most of them are the leaders in the cybersecurity space. Good to see you all and welcome to the event. Wanted to talk about what is changing for the CISO. The topic is CISO's role is changing? And what would be the role of CISO 20 years from now? So if you look at it, there are things which are changing for a CISO. But is it really drastically changing? Is CISO roles are transforming? Possibly the answer is yes and no. But let's figure out what are the things which are changing or indications of change which we have seen in the recent past. Let me talk about the real role played by CISO, a traditional CISO till now. They were mostly focusing around compliance as a theme. They were reporting compliance, and many of their activities were revolving around compliance as a theme. Interestingly, with the pandemic coming in, things have changed. The business models have changed. Remote working has picked up in a big way. And there was no choice for anybody to continue business because business resilience was put on a question mark. And systems had to be modeled or remodeled to adapt to the new way of working. CISO stepped in along with the IT teams to enable the business to run the business as usual. And that's when we have seen a lot more interaction between business and the cybersecurity leaders. That trend continues. And hence, what we are realizing is there is a lot more integration between a CISO function and the business to run the business more effectively and bring more resiliency to the business areas. That's one of the first things we have been seeing as a trend. This trend will continue certainly because they have seen the benefit of this collaborative model rather than CISO playing a role of a compliance leader, taking a stake, beating up and making sure that everything is intact, nothing changes. That is getting changed. And with that, also the theme around risk-based approaches. What is risk-based? We were also looking at risk earlier. Now the change is IT risk versus business risk. And alignment of IT risk to the business through models like integrated risk management. And again, it is a concept which is again evolving. Not many organizations have fully adopted the model of integrated risk management. It requires a lot of change culturally also within the organization, structurally within the organization. So IRM as a theme has been a talking point for many of the business leaders, because at the end of the day, if you don't know your risk, and if you're ignoring cyber risk, that's the biggest mistake you can make in the business side. So we have also seen the changes in models, the changes in relationship for a CISO, which will continue to evolve over a period of time. And without a concept like integrated risk management, where you kind of look at all possible risk in a business process or business function, even business risk management will take a setback, right? Will have a setback. That's the first thing we wanted to talk in terms of what is really changing for CISO from a role perspective, and how business is seeing CISO's function when it comes to the collaborative models and effective implementation of the risk management processes. Second topic is related to the continuous control monitoring. Today, if you look at it, most of us do testing. Most of us do a periodic testing. We do periodic risk assessment. Is that good enough in the dynamic world of cloud adoption, things changing dynamically, your auto scaling, your elasticity, all those models coming in, right? Your traditional way of doing assessment and audit would be ineffective to a larger extent unless you adopt to a more or less a continuous control monitoring model. Here again, the technology is also getting changed. The traditional role-based solutions are getting changed to more of AI and ML-enabled cognitive solutions. And with the cloud adoption, we have seen the cloud providers themselves providing a lot of cognitive-based solutions to enhance your current security monitoring. Detection and response as a theme is also getting changed in a big way. If you look at the traditional model, we were very focused on protection, but in today's world, unless we shift from protection to detection and response, it'll impact the way we manage cyber risk. When I say when we shift, we cannot ignore protection, but we certainly need to have more focus around detection and response. Again, if I go with the statistics, it takes about 180 days to detect a real incident. Is that a good time frame? By that time, things would have, it would have impacted the business in a big way. Knowing we may not know it, and many of the incidents we may not even get a view of it. So, and hence, the movement from a protection focus to a detection and response focus, that's one area. Second is, can we bring in continuous control monitoring? And control automation would certainly enable continuous control monitoring in a way. And the last one is the cognitive solutions which are evolving. Some of the existing solutions which we are using would undergo a massive change. Even for example, security incident event management tools. You can't live with a rule-based engine anymore. And hence, the adoption of newer technology and bringing automation to our risk management function would play a larger role going forward. This again is not a trend, it's in reality as of now. We cannot live with the traditional control testing models, which is a periodic testing models. Third element is reporting of CISOs. Again, a debatable point, what is right and what is wrong. If you look at the CISOs today, almost 50%, I would say this is the statistics we have, this is based on a survey of around 150 Fortune 1000 CISOs. The number says around 45% of the CISOs report to the CIO. Is that a good number? Answer is again yes and no, because some of the organization culturally is aligned in a way that CISO is part of the CIO function, because they believe that CISO's focus should be more on technology risk or cyber risk related to IT technologies, and hence this kind of a structure evolved over a period of time. And again, there are variances from industry to industry. Some of the banking industry, because of regulatory pressures, they change the structure of the organization, whereas IT risk or a CISO function may report to a risk office, which is the chief risk office. The trend what we have seen is now regulators have woken up. If you look at SEC rule, which came in some time back, though it's not enforced, it talks about the independence of the cybersecurity governance function and board's involvement in cybersecurity governance activities, which will anyway put pressure on the exec and the board to make sure that cybersecurity is independent. If their reporting structure is under the CIO structure, possibly we may not be able to achieve unless we bring in a parallel structure, which may not be effective in a way. And hence we foresee that CISO's reporting would change over a period of time. Whether it is what is the right structure, it is yet to be answered. Some may say that CRO, Chief Risk Officer, could be a right leader for the CISO so that they will be independent. But again, there are talks about they directly reporting to the board, not directly reporting, but they will have a reporting responsibility to the board, and hence they have to be independent of the CIO function or IT management function. So that's the third element. Again, what we have also seen is CISO is also moving from a traditional, CISO's function will have areas like security operations, security monitoring, and all of them, which are more of execution related activity, including some of the things, CISO's team would involved in security administration as well. And the question now is that the right way to do, or should we elevate CISO into a pure play governance role so that they don't have any execution responsibility? This is again coming in regular conversation on the independent side. If I am into security monitoring and operations, am I really playing a second line of defense role? Again, a question for all of us in terms of what is the right structure, how do we ensure independence? But it is certain that there will be regulatory pressure on making sure that CISO role is independent and CISOs have an independent reporting responsibility. Again, SEC is one of them. We have seen many regulators talking about independence of CISO. Even if you look at the breach reporting requirements, we have also seen similar kind of topics being covered in terms of how do we make sure that the cybersecurity leaders are independently reporting. They are not constrained because somebody wanted to cover up certain kind of incidents in the organization. So certainly this is another area where we see a change happening. The change is very, very slow. If I look at last 3 to 4 years, I've not seen a major change in terms of the CISO reporting getting changed in our organization. Especially I'm referring to the organization where CISO is reporting to a CIO. But certainly this is an area which will undergo a change, possibly in the near future because of the regulatory pressures. Another area is the budgets. Again, it's all have certain relationship with the topic we discussed. Is CISO a budget owner? Answer is yes in many organizations because they invest in security tool sets sometimes, right? They will certainly have certain budget for security tools. But over a period of time, what we have seen is while there is an increase in security budgets across the industries, again, there are exceptions, but we have seen as a trend, there is an increase in security budgets. Now, is CISO's share of that security budget is increasing or decreasing? The answer is it's shrinking actually. There are reasons behind it. And when we talk about execution versus governance, when you move the execution part, certainly that execution related investments will go into a different bucket. And most interestingly, one theme we have seen is the business is investing in security tool sets as part of various models, including we can say shift left or any other adoption of SaaS or cloud or whatever, right? They started investing in security, and one of the statistics says about 30% of the security budget in an organization is consumed by business. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but we have seen that kind of a trend in terms of business directly invest in security solutions, services, activities, and they may even outsource certain security activities to third parties. So we have seen that the budgets are also getting reduced to a larger extent for the CISOs. Again, it's not a massive change, but again, depends on the organization structure, how security team is playing some kind of an execution role. If they're playing a pure play governance role, naturally their share of security budget would come down. Again, there are other themes. Again, I thought these are the 4 areas which will be very visible as of now in terms of CISO structures. Areas like collaboration is an area where we have seen kind of a trend in terms of the siloed way of working versus collaboration. Collaboration is not only within the business, but also across the industries, the peers, especially in the area of threat intelligence, right? Traditional ways, you kind of contain everything within the organization. You don't exchange any threat intel data with others. Now with the regulators being more active, some of the government organizations are actively getting involved in collaborations and ensuring that there are various forums through which we exchange threat intel data. But again, the question is what you share with others, right? So this is again an evolving area. Threat intel exchange as a topic is getting more attention in nowadays, primarily because collaboration is critical, not only within the organization, but also with third parties. They will be able to give a lot of intelligence. Today, our subscriptions are primarily from threat intel agencies. Is that good enough? Or should we tie up with the industry, other peers in the industry, to get more relevant data which potentially impact us in that area? Again, another trend what we have seen is the skill sets. We all know that cybersecurity skill sets is not available, or it is not adequate enough for us to actually manage the cybersecurity activities, right? Again, a change in kind of skill set requirement. We are no longer into a checklist-based audits. We are more into continuous monitoring and continuous audits, right? And hence, leveraging of cognitive solution in the audit itself, or we may have to do a lot more analytics based on various data. The existing tool set, you may have to leverage it in a big way, but you may have to look at more analytic solutions to kind of figure out what trends we have in the organization. Are there any abnormal trends? There it requires a lot more analytic skills than the traditional operative or administrative skills which we used to have earlier, right? This is again a kind of a topic which is evolving over a period of time. Bringing in cognitive-based solutions, reducing the people dependency, or these are the primary trends we have seen on the skill side. And again, lack of availability of the people, the skilled people in the cyber area is also a question across the globe, right? Not only in India, but all over the world. Cybersecurity skills are one of the the rare skill in the market. Now again, automation to an extent and reskilling the CISOs. One area again is going back to the first topic of business alignment. We have seen a lot of business-focused leaders coming into the CISO roles compared to the traditional technical CISOs, right? Again, it's not a trend as such, but in terms of the change in behavior, change in skill set, existing CISOs will have to elevate themselves into a business role. That's certainly something which will happen for sure, because at the end of the day, we are trying to address a business problem. It's not a technical problem anymore. So to talk about all these, in my view, there are certain trends. We don't know whether that will change the way we work, at least in the next 10 years. Predictive, if you do some kind of a prediction, at least there's areas which I see as a area which will evolve is areas like elevation of CISO into a pure play governance role. Areas like traditional audit-based models will undergo change to continuous control monitoring, because at the end of the day, changes will have to be monitored, not on a periodic basis, on a continuous basis. And the third element is structuring of CISO. How do we ensure independence? It is primarily through a structure which will be aligned to the organization's risk models, not really a technical kind of a structure where you align to the CIO, and that will bring in certain constraints. There are good and bad about all these structures, but certainly as a best practice and the regulatory advice when we look at it is to align it to more of an independent function. And then lastly, the way the budgets are getting allocated. Shift left, cloud adoption, SaaS models, you consume the security functionalities provided by those than enforcing your, your solution on those on those cloud-based platforms. At a high level, that's what it is, and I know we may not be able to cover a lot of things which is related to CISO and the changing CISO roles, but I thought these would be an interesting topic to kind of cover, and the top 5 or top 4 areas to be covered. And again, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak to you or share my views on this topic. If you have any questions, more than happy to handle. I think we have a time constraint, but still, I will take maybe a couple of questions. Yes.
So once again, we'll give you the mic.
Hi, good morning. My name is Vinayak. I work for Philips. I actually have 2 questions, but they are related. So I wanted to understand from you, why do you believe the security budgets are shrinking? The second thing, in alignment with the changing roles of CISO, how can CISO start talking and articulating its value in the business terms that the business leaders can understand and in turn can help solve the problem with the budgets? Because I see a lot of CISO talking technical language. You go to business leaders and they immediately say, so what? So how do you help solve that problem? Thank you.
Thank you, and both the questions are very good. The first topic is about reducing security budgets. It's actually not reducing security budgets. Security budgets are increasing. It is, as a trend we have seen, especially after pandemic, we have seen, though we all went through a kind of budget crunch because of the uncertainty we had, but the post-pandemic or in the current new normal, we have seen security budgets getting increased. But the question is it going to the CISO or is it going to someone else? And the answer is, at least what we have seen with the top 100 customers of Wipro, almost every budget is going to the CIO function or directly to the business. So as a role, as a CISO, am I getting enough security budgets? Answer is no, to an extent. Again, this is based on statistics and data we gathered from 100 plus CISOs. What they're saying is their budget is getting reduced. Whereas the organization is spending on security, but their share of budget is getting reduced because of change in the model and business directly investing. And there's nothing wrong and right in those models, but that's what we have seen as a trend, right? The second part is, how do we show our value to the business? And again, as I was mentioning earlier, the compliance-based reporting, you're just saying you're not compliant. We are not saying what will happen if you're not compliant, what is the business risk you have. Just translating your compliance into a risk-based scoring model where you're saying that your business will be impacted. If you don't want to really go to a quantification model, which will be difficult considering the maturity of many organizations, at least use certain qualitative risk scoring models, which should be signed off with the execs, and then start reporting the business impacts and use a traditional scoring model for reporting business risk so that we are not making any major changes. So the moment we say that, okay, we have a failure, but if it is a technical failure, if we stop at there, people will not understand, okay, what is the impact for me? And the moment we say that, okay, this is the business impact, and that's where the scoring models are getting changed. Now, when there is an incident, we try to translate into business process impacts than saying that this is a technical impact. So it requires a kind of a different modeling, but we can also use, and there are a number of models. I don't think we should go to an extent of quantification unless we have reached that level of maturity. In financial service organization, we may be able to do it, but in other organizations, it's best to start with a qualitative risk modeling at a business level. Hope I answered your question. Yes. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'll be here. We can catch up separately.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.